had gastritis for over a year, and when I tell people that, they get kind of concerned and almost gaslight me a little bit, especially when I tell them like how I eat now. Of course you have gastritis, you drink wine, or of course you have gastritis, you eat pasta and chocolate occasionally. Well, yes, now my symptoms are much better and I've figured out a way to kind of eat a more normal diet. I still do have symptoms, but I spent 6 months eating an extremely restrictive diet, eating everything according to, the perfect gastritis healing plan, taking all the right supplements, meditating daily. I wasn't drinking alcohol for 8 months. I felt like I was doing everything right, and I was rewarded for that because my symptoms were very minimal, if not non existent, during that whole period. So when I decided to start bringing foods back into my diet, I felt okay at first, but then slowly I started getting the flare-ups maybe once a week again. And while I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with me, I've come to the conclusion that my gastritis has lasted this long because it's not just gastritis. Doctors love to tell their patients that you just have gastritis, you just have mild gastritis, you just have to eat right and be on a PPI to manage it. But according to my recent endoscopy in November, I had some bile in my stomach, which potentially means that I have bile reflux. Now, it's possible to have bile reflux and acid reflux at the same time, if you're lucky enough to have both. But bile reflux and acid reflux are basically opposites. Bile is produced by the liver, and bile reflux happens when bile gets into the stomach. And bile is actually alkaline, it's not acidic, so using a PPI can actually worsen the bile reflux. I think gastritis is just a symptom, it is not the cause of my symptoms. I think the cause could be bile reflux or some functional issue with my gallbladder where the bile comes through. So that's why I think I've had gastritis for so long. I came to this epiphany recently, and I'm kind of reevaluating my whole journey. It doesn't mean I have to do something completely different. Treating bile reflux is fairly similar to treating the gastritis itself, but it is making me reconsider, some of the methods that I've employed for my own healing. With all this being said, having gastritis does not mean you're going to have it for over a year like I do. I have other complications along with the gastritis. This is yet another reason why I'm so frustrated with doctors, because even when they found the bile, they didn't give me any advice as to how to deal with it. They just said, oh yeah, this could potentially be this, and they sent me on my way. So, yeah.